Hey, good morning, guys. This is Traci Williams, and I am coming to you again today with another special guest. This is Michelle Graff.
Hello, everyone.
And that's Graff. So this is the channel or where I talk to you guys about taking care of yourself, loving yourself spiritually, physically, emotionally, and financially. And today, Michelle from Michelle Graff LLC is going to be talking to us about some things. Hey, Jordana, good morning. Hey, Viola. About taking care of yourself, especially your mind, emotionally, which is something we all need. I love this topic, Michelle. Thank you for coming.
I'm very happy to be here, Traci.
This is all about the power of beliefs, and it reminds me of Mark 11, where he talks about where Jesus cursed the fig tree. You guys remember that? Yeah, and then the disciples didn't believe it because the next day they were passing by and they were like, Rabbi, this tree you cursed is withered. And so, Jesus in his calm, cool state, he's like, dude, I'm just paraphrasing, but he's like, dude, have faith in God. And so how great is that if we believe that the power of God resides in us, when we accept him as our Lord and Savior, then we can know that same power resides in us too. So we have to always believe in our own abilities that we have. And Michelle's going to teach us how to do that, especially through trauma. Now, I got to tell you, this is a fantabulous woman, if I could use that as one word, just kind of putting them all together there. But I love Michelle. Ever since I met her, I'm just like, this woman is so smart and so savvy. Like, I got to follow her. Have y'all ever met anybody like that? If you have, just kind of give me a thumbs up there, a little like. And please make sure if you show up, put your name in the box. You're sitting in your state so I know that you're here. And we appreciate that. So even if you're watching the replay, put your name and city and state in the box so that we know that you came by. And remember, watch to the end because I have some special treat for you guys. So the other thing is Michelle, let me tell you, Michelle has been in this business for over 20 years, helping families be able to build resiliency in a place of trauma. So that's when we need it the most. It's like, how do we spring back from something that hurt us so badly or hurt us so deeply? And I know we have a lot of parents that deal, with some of their kids who have been, diagnosed with mental health disorders. And Michelle has been specializing with that. She is has her own company now. Yay! Michelle Graff LLC. She's a consultant and for companies and as well as for therapists and okay.
And anyone working with children and families, so individuals and organizations.
Awesome. Now, Michelle, why are you so passionate about this? You've been doing this a long time. So what keeps you going?
Wow, that's a great question. I think I've just always had that desire to help people. But it's also fascinating and interesting. I love learning and reading about the brain and how we work and just ideas and ways to make us all more resilient, more able. We all experience adversity in life, but just that ability to be able to bounce back or bounce forward.
Yeah, so, I love it. That's great answer. Okay, so tell me this, because I was going to save this to the end. So just so you guys can kind of get to know Michelle and love her like I do, because she is really fantastic. Michelle, we're going to do kind of like a quick round of get to know you questions, okay? So what are some of the favorite books that you like? 2 favorite books.
Nonfiction or fiction? I think my favorite nonfiction book is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, because it is about resiliency. It's about a little girl growing up through challenges and adversity and how she survives.
Awesome. So A Tree That Grows in Brooklyn?
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
Okay, so look that up if you need some resiliency help. Okay, now next question. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie of all time, I have like a top 10 list. I usually like those movies that somebody is sort of coming back from, the little guy is sort of coming back from behind. Movies like, I like Braveheart. It's a little violent for my taste, but I love the whole notion of somebody struggling against the world for a greater cause.
Right. Awesome.
I don't know if that's my favorite, but that's one that popped in my head that's in the top 10.
Okay, we'll take that. Okay, and what are some of the favorite things that you love to do? 2 top favorite things you love to do to relax.
To relax. Well, lately I've been painting a little, and I've done that on and off in my life. I'm not a very skilled artist yet, but I like to do it for enjoyment.
Awesome. I love that answer. You see, she wasn't skilled, but she's still working on it. So our brains have that capacity to expand, right? That plasticity.
Absolutely.
And she's going to talk to us a little bit about that neuroplasticity. Hey, Troy, thanks for coming. I'm glad that you're here. I just met Troy about a week ago, and he's like fantastic. Okay, and let me see, one more last quick round question. Where's your favorite place in the world to go?
Oh, that's an easy one. That's Royal Stadium, or the K. I'm a huge Royals fan, so being at the K is my favorite place in the world.
Awesome. Go Royals.
Especially if I'm there with people I love. So.
Okay, I love it. Okay, so now we're going to get on to the professional talk while you're really here and find out this whole thing about our power of beliefs. So, Michelle, you want to tell us a little bit about the power of beliefs and how it affects us?
Okay. Well, this is actually something I've been reading. I love to read nonfiction, and lately I've just been reading a lot about this, and it keeps coming up in some of the books I've been chosen to read. And it's amazing, that connection, specifically between what we believe and how we perceive the world, and then how we respond to it based on those beliefs. And Traci, all of this is rooted in brain science. I love talking about the brain. It really fascinates me. But it's the way our brain is designed, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. When we experience things in life, our brain is learning about the world around us, especially as we're developing in childhood. And so it's taking all this information and it's storing it, and it's deciding how the world works. So is it a safe world? Is it an unsafe world? And then our role, how do we fit in it? So we're learning all of this about the world, and we're forming beliefs or mindsets, which are groups of beliefs. And then when new information comes in, our brain is designed to take these memories and emotions and past experiences and interpret that new information. So that's the way our beliefs, once they're set, start to shape the way we respond to things, because it shapes the way we interpret new information. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's actually how we learn to survive. When we interpret something as a threat, we know we need to get ready to be defensive.
Right.
So that's not a bad thing in itself. But unfortunately, when we have experienced trauma and adversity, particularly in childhood when we're developing our belief system, then our brain starts to interpret things, or we start to form some unhelpful beliefs, I like to say. And then we get stuck in the same patterns of responding to things based on these old beliefs. And it's hard to shake an old belief, especially in times of stress. We tend to resort back to some of those old ways of viewing the world.
Yes.
So I want to talk about some particularly unhelpful mindsets that keep us stuck. And I'm not going to talk about this for a lot, because I want to get to the helpful mindsets and how we can change our thinking.
Right. Okay. So now, just based on that, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask Michelle, please feel free to put them in the box there, and we will make sure we get to those answers for you, because we want to be a help. Michelle has been training for, how long have you done training?
A little over 20 years.
Over 20 years for therapists, counselors, just anybody in the social work field. So if you have, if I have some moms that are watching and you're having problems with your kiddos, and you just don't know how to handle it, how can you help them bounce back? Then make sure you put those questions and comments in the box there. Hey, thanks, Viola. I love that. She said good answer. So she likes some of the things that you do, so that's great. So I got a question first about the mindset, because this is interesting to me. Now, I know some people believe we can have either a set mindset, like we're born with this certain IQ and that's it. And then we have another set of science that's like, okay, so the brain has a capacity to grow, and we can have a growth mindset.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, because that's really important. And there's a lot of new research. You've probably read some of the work by Carol Dweck.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very fascinating. She has a book actually titled Mindset.
Right.
She specifically talks about the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset.
Awesome.
And how just even having that growth mindset can really help us to move forward.
See, y'all, we on the same wavelength. It's know, with people that you have that same stuff. Hey, Sean, thanks for showing up. That have the same mindset, that you want to accomplish some things together, because you know you form these synergistic relationships, and then things just get moving.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you know, I have to say, like, that reminds me of Henry Ford. His quote, he's like, "Whether you believe you can or you can't, it's true."
That's right.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, watch your thoughts. You know, okay, so go ahead.
Absolutely. Great build up to what we're about to talk about, Traci.
Oh,
We did not rehearse this at all.
I know.
It's almost like we had.
We just ran in the library and grabbed the room.
So one of the mindsets that I want to talk about that keeps us stuck, and the reason why I'm going to talk about this is just so you can recognize when you get when you hear yourself doing that negative thinking, because we all do it. We all get stuck in some of these mindsets sometimes.
Exactly.
And, you know, some people like to call this mindset the victim mindset or victim thinking. I want to make sure that we distinguish the difference between victim thinking and actually being victimized.
Okay.
Because victim thinking is when something from our past is keeping us stuck in a way, in an unhelpful way of thinking. If you're being victimized, well, then you do need to take some protective action and ask for help.
Exactly.
And, that's in the present. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when stuff from our past keeps us stuck. And so I like to call it the stuck mindset. It's stuck thinking, because it's actually repeating that same way of thinking over and over again.
So are you kind of like, say for instance, are you saying like, you could be having a normal day at work or at school playing, and then this memory pops up, and then bam, you hit that freeze mode in your brain.
Yeah. Well, usually something triggers it.
Yeah.
So it's difficulty. I mean, it's challenges, real life challenges that we all face every day. I mean, all of us, you know, have things that happen to us that are difficult. But in our ability to bounce forward from those things has a lot to do with how we believe. And so if we're stuck in that mindset that we're a victim and that we're helpless, then it's harder for us to move forward. So here are some three beliefs that are part of that stuck mindset that I just want to talk about, just so you can recognize when you're in it. The first belief is entitlement. You know, entitlement is that belief that somebody owes you something. And we've all been guilty of thinking that way. So I'm not trying to talk about something I haven't myself experienced, because I think the world sometimes reinforces this mindset. And so that just that feeling that you're owed something. And the second piece, or the third or second belief as a part of this mindset, is blaming. And that's the belief that that somebody has to be blamed or punished in order for us to move forward.
Right.
And it's another way of keeping us stuck. And the third is that helplessness, that belief that we don't have the power or the ability to change things, and that our inability is fixed. There's nothing we can do about it. So those are the three beliefs in that stuck mindset. I want to talk about how to challenge those beliefs.
Okay.
Because, you know, if we can shake our old ways of thinking, we can learn new ways to respond.
Right.
And that moves us forward.
So let me ask you a question. That second one that you mentioned, now what did you call that again?
Blaming. Yes.
So when we in that blaming mode, is this also a mode where we're stuck in kind of some unforgiveness, some bitterness?
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Great.
And it's really the belief that keeps us stuck there, is that there has to be somebody blamed and punished, you know, and so it makes it hard to let go of that. So let's talk about entitlement first.
Okay.
You know, it's funny, people throw that word around a lot, and I think a lot of people think that entitlement comes from being given too much, like you're spoiled, and so you're entitled. I think that more often it comes from being deprived. Somewhere, somebody or something deprived us of our sense of self-worth. And so now we're seeking external ways to get it back.
Okay.
And so that's where that entitled comes, that desperation of getting that validation from external sources. When really we know the truth is our worthiness is inherent. It's not contingent on anything anybody does.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but something's happened in our life that's shaken that. So we've adopted this belief that we need to get somebody, we need that validation externally. And
Right.
we start thinking that we're owed that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that keeps us stuck. Okay. So the thinking that we can use to replace entitlement when you start feeling yourself going there is gratitude. Getting in the habit, and you know, our thoughts always precede our actions. So first we start by thinking gratitude, and you have to practice this.
Right, right.
So you know, when you feel yourself slipping into that entitlement, real quickly think of 3 things you're grateful for.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, so I got to tell you why I love this, because I'm on the side just kind of cracking up like. So gratitude. I always have the saying about you got to have an attitude of gratitude, because gratitude opens the door for you to get more, be more, do more, make a
Absolutely.
greater impact. You know, be open to prosperity and things like that. So I love it. Yes, and also here's my shameless plug. I have a YouTube video out there that is based on gratitude. You know, being happy and grateful for what you have and what you can do and what you can be. And in the times that we live in right now, where it's like so much going on all over the world, Michelle, it is definitely a time to have gratitude, even if you don't even think you have something to grateful for. You just, you know, spend a couple of minutes every day. And I do this myself. I have a journal where I keep and it's dated every day. You know, it's really a prayer journal, but I use it for it's called my gratefulness journal. So I just put in there every day something that I am grateful for, no matter how tired I am or how early I have to get up the next morning. Like, it doesn't matter. The thing is, like, I know that it will open up a door for more things to happen for me and to me. And I love your other point about the validation, because so many people are seeking to be approved by somebody else, you know, and so that is not, you know, we always look for love in the wrong places. And then when we do that, we accept love in the wrong places. You know, we get caught up in these negative relationships, violent relationships, and things like that. So this is a perfect time to be talking about this. Again, it's Traci Williams with Michelle Graff. And if you are signing on, please continue to put your name and your city and state in the box. Thank you, Mary, for showing up. Hey, what's going on? Haven't seen you in a long time. I miss you. I love you, sis. So, yeah, for sure, we have to be grateful for, you know, even just having a place to stay. And it's dry, and our homes didn't get swept away with everything else, like the hurricanes we just had and different things like that. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, because gratitude is the thinking of abundance. And really, when we practice gratitude, what happens is it starts to move our perception from that of deprived to blessed.
Oh. So wait a minute. Are you saying that the opposite of gratitude and abundance is like scarcity? Like we're
deprivation.
Oh, I love it.
And really, that's just something we're feeling because our sense of self-worth has been knocked around, perhaps. Or sometimes it's not even a big traumatic event. It's just messages that we get throughout our life that reinforces that negative thinking.
Yeah.
So let's kind of talk about that second thing, the blaming.
Okay, great.
You know, blaming, I talk about that, keeping us stuck in the past. You know, it is okay to every now and then reflect on the past if we're going to learn from it, if it gets us to move forward.
Right.
But that blaming or that need to blame keeps us stuck there.
Right.
And that's what we don't want. Okay, we want to be able to move forward.
Yes.
So the challenging or the replacement thinking for blaming is actually responsibility.
So we have to be responsible for our own actions.
And it's thinking I'm responsible not just for actions, I'm responsible for my feelings.
Oh yes, I like that.
And my actions and my growth. Okay? That's my responsibility. Growth and healing.
Yeah.
My responsibility. And it also means allowing other people to be responsible for their feelings, their actions, and their growth.
What? Hold on. Let me make sure I got this right. You're saying if I'm able to forgive them and not blame them, then
You're just allowing,
I'm allowing them
to be responsible. So we're not blaming ourselves for other people's feelings.
Right. Okay.
We're responsible for, nor are we blaming other people for our feelings.
Okay.
We're responsible for our own feelings, our own action, and our own growth.
Okay.
And that's really important.
Wow.
And so the responsible thinking takes us from that being stuck in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps us to let go of the past, and in some cases to forgive or accept forgiveness.
Okay. Yes.
So that we can shift our thinking to the present and to
Whoop.
the future.
Whoop.
Okay.
Shift,
And
y'all.
shift that perspective out of the past to the future, or to the here and now. What we can do.
Okay.
So,
I love it.
and that leads to the third belief we're going to challenge,
gosh.
and that is that helplessness. And we're all there sometimes where we just feel like these problems are so overwhelming, there's nothing I can do about it. And also it's that thinking that it's fixed. It's always going to be this way. And you brought that up before, that fixed mindset can really hold us in the past.
That's a big thing right there, because a lot of people need to know they can get out of it, and they start feeling that hopeless, like you said, and which leads to suicide, self-harm, and self-harm. And there's a difference between just cutting yourself for self-harm and then actually trying to do something to take yourself out of this world, So a lot of times people are just trying to stop the pain. They just don't want it to hurt anymore.
Absolutely.
They don't want to have those thoughts, those feelings, those memories come up. So we have to have people like Michelle. So if y'all want to hire her, Michelle Graff, Graff LLC, just contact her. So you can know how to get out of those places of being stuck, so that you can move on, right,
Absolutely.
and grow and learn. Okay.
Hope lies in the future.
Yes.
So we need to get stuck from repeating those old patterns from the past to bring that home.
Don't say
And so capability or capable thinking, is what we, and that's really rooted in the truth, as all this is, because we know that you talked about neuroplasticity. We know that our minds continue to grow and learn new things. We are never fixed where we are. We can always grow and learn something new.
Right.
So one of the ways I practice capable thinking is by using the word yet. It's a small but powerful word.
3 letters.
3 letters, but I practice using it. So instead of saying things like, these problems are too big for me to solve, I say, I haven't figured this out yet.
I like that.
Okay. And that, because we can always learn new things. Kind of like when we talked about the painting before, and I said, I haven't quite learned the skill of painting yet, or mastered that skill yet. But it's a yet. I'm always, we're always trying to improve ourselves and grow, and we can. Our brain can change the way we respond. We can change our beliefs. And we can learn new skills, new ways to deal with things. We know that, and that's capable thinking. So you remember that word yet and try to use it. And I want to talk a little bit about, you brought up the work of Carol Dweck in the growth mindset.
Yeah.
So Carol Dweck, she's written a fascinating book, but she's really a researcher. And she's spent a lifetime researching this growth mindset versus that fixed mindset. So the belief that we can grow and learn, and even though we might be born with natural skills and intelligence and talent,
exactly,
that's great, but we're not stuck there. We can keep improving things. If we're not natural at something, it doesn't mean we can't learn it.
Yes.
And she, in her studies, she has made the connection between believing that you grow and change and your actual ability and success at growth and change. In other words, if you believe it, you're more likely to do it.
Now, have y'all heard that before? When y'all were young, people always said, if you can believe it, if you can conceive it, then you can achieve it. But you still got to work. Okay? So even if you take a few minutes every day, so I don't know, maybe sometimes some people might remember I did like a 30-day challenge where I said, hey, what if you never heard the word impossible? Or if you never understood that concept of not being able to do something, then what would you do? Write that list down. So I'm going to challenge you today again. Write a list of things that you would accomplish if you never knew that there was a thing called I couldn't do it. Like, it's not even possible. Like, not for me, because, you know, we say stuff like that, like, oh, it's not for me, everybody else can do it. Or you're always pushing somebody else along. And I know I got some of you watching that you always helping somebody else go further, go faster, meet new people, open up to new opportunities. So if that's you, I want you to take responsibility, like Michelle was doing, and just put it in a box. That's me, that's me, that's me. I need to get out of that. Okay? And so if you do that for at least 30 days, I know it changed me. I didn't do it every day like I was supposed to, but every time I failed, I was able to bounce back, get right back up, no guilty feelings, and I just was like, hey, I didn't do it. I fell off the stick. Let me jump back on again, right? And that's the great thing about having new mercy every day. Like, you get another opportunity. If you wake up again, you get another opportunity. And I love how Michelle was saying, you know, we're all born with these capabilities. I think we all have some kind of gifts or talents in each and every one of us. I mean, even the ant is smart enough or wise enough to gather everything he needs in the summer 2 months out of the year. Okay, 3 months at the most. They work hard. And then the rest of the year they chilling. I mean, how many of us really want to be able to do that? If that's you, you know, put in the box, that's me, that's me, that's me. 3 times, that's me, that's me, that's me. Because I know I would love to work 3 months out of the year and chill for the rest of the year.
I think that's everybody's dream.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, okay, I'm going to give it back to you, Michelle.
Well, I just want to say, no, I love what you're saying, and it's really, really emphasizing my point. So capable thinking, actually, it transforms us from limited to possibility, and that's shifting our perception, as all this thinking does. And so I want you to remember that it starts with thinking. Thinking leads to action, and if we can change our thinking, we can start to change or shift our perception and our beliefs, and we can start to change our lives.
I love that. Yeah.
So the three replacement thinking that we want to try to do is gratitude, responsibility, and capable thinking.
Okay. And so what are the 3 that we're replacing? That entitlement, the blaming, and what's the lastness?
Helplessness.
The helplessness.
Yeah. So when you start hearing that self-talk that sounds a little bit like entitlement, blaming, or helplessness, I think we probably all recognize that we all do that. And by the way, we live in a culture that sometimes reinforces that way of thinking. So we all get caught in that but that's stuck thinking.
Right.
And so really try hard to replace that thinking with gratitude, responsibility, and capability.
I love that, Michelle. That's good. Okay. So what else do you have for us today?
Well, that was the big thing I wanted to talk about, but I'm certainly open to elaborating on any of that or answering any questions.
Okay, great. I love it. I got so Michelle talked a little bit about the stuck mindset and then also the growth mindset. And so if you guys would like to have some ideas, so I want to give you a list of 25 ways that you can do things in a practical way to grow your mindset. You know, just in the box, I just want you to put, you know, hashtag mind growth, hashtag mind growth. And then what I will do is make sure I can send you can send me a personal message or a DM with your email address, because I want to be able to send you a PDF to give you 25 ways to help grow your mindset. Or if you know somebody, because I know we have some people that maybe you have some kids that you need to help them grow their mindset. Maybe they've experienced some things in their lifetime, or some grandkids, some things in their lifetime that were traumatic. And Michelle really specializes in this, and these things will help them, you know, kind of get out of that.
You know, and remember the power of relationships. You know, that's really some of these messages and some of the trauma happens in relationships. So the healing and growth needs to happen in relationships. And by the way, this set of belief of gratitude or responsibility and capability, I like to call that the freedom mindset.
All right, I love
because
it.
it's the opposite of being stuck.
Right.
It's about being free and moving forward.
Right.
And growth and change is a part of that.
Sure.
So absolutely, and there are ways we can help others by just not getting pulled into it. You know, sometimes when we come across somebody else that's thinking this way, it's easy to get pulled into it.
Right.
You know, and it's easy to try to want to rescue them or help alleviate their feelings.
Right.
And sometimes we're actually adding to that thinking that they're not capable when we do that.
Yeah.
So how do we support somebody in having a healthy mindset and a healthy way of thinking and viewing things so that they can move forward? It doesn't mean you have to do it all on your own.
Exactly.
I mean, nobody does anything on their own. I mean, we need each other to help learn and grow.
Right.
But we need to help each other in a supportive way that doesn't keep you stuck in that old way of responding.
Now, I like when you brought that up, like we need each other and we don't always have to fix the problem.
No.
Sometimes we just need to talk about the problem. I was just talking about this with one of my coworkers yesterday. You know, she's like, you know, when I go home, if I want to discuss something with my husband, I'm talking, he's trying to fix the problem. Like, we don't want you to fix the problem, husbands. Don't fix the problem. We just want to talk about it and get it out, process it, you know, because we have the answer inside. But sometimes you want to express, and this is a healthy way to express yourself, you know, instead of going to somebody else and, you know, attacking them or fussing and yelling and slamming doors and stuff like that. You know, it's good to process that with somebody else that is detached from the situation and kind of get it out, which is, you know, a good point to, you know, sometimes we need a counselor. You know, sometimes we can't find help in our own homes. We need to seek, you know, where can we go? What can we do outside of the homes? And so definitely for sure, if you need somebody to, you know, some professional counseling or things like that, therapists, and Michelle is a good resource for that also. So Michelle, can you give them your professional phone number in case anybody wants to contact
Absolutely. It's 816-830-5613. And I do not do individual counseling, but I would, if you're in the area, find somebody or hook you up with somebody that could.
Awesome. Now, you also talked about, well, I don't know if you mentioned this word specifically, but you talked about our thoughts. Now, our thoughts, I know to me, or the unconscious thoughts, are the things that we're actually, what we carry out, what we do, more than our conscious thought. Because I was doing some more studying, you know, just how, like, our conscious thoughts, they travel like 100,000 miles per hour around our brain before, and our conscious thoughts travel like 1,000 miles per hour. So it's like, before our brain, our thinking ability can like think about what we should do, like we've already done it.
Absolutely.
And we've all had those moments we something happened and we just reacted, and we're just like, wait, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to think about it first. But where does that come into play? You know, how our unconscious thoughts just like override.
Well, that's where those beliefs are why they're so important. Not just our thinking, but actually the thinking can help change our beliefs or perceptions. But those are already in our brain.
Right.
And you're right. The part of the brain that responds particularly to threats or what we're viewing as threats, and what the brain perceives as threats, is reacting or responding before those neural pathways get up to the part of our brain that can really think about it and be reasonable.
Right,
so sometimes our response does come before we can override it with some healthy thinking.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's really important to work on having healthy thinking patterns so that we can start to change those beliefs or those worldviews or mindsets.
Right.
So that our initial response is not one of defensiveness when it doesn't have to be. Okay. And
right.
The other thing is that helping to have some healthy pathways up to the parts of our brain that can maybe think a little more reasonably about things. And that's hard to do when you're triggered or you're feeling stressed or something is a real heightened emotion for you in the situation. It's hard always to think logically.
Yeah,
it is
hard.
Yes, right. We've all heard ourselves in our mind kind of complaining about something, and it doesn't really make sense, but we're just venting a little,
Right.
In our head.
But although it's hard, you mentioned that 3-letter word. Because we don't want our kids thinking, okay, so I can use this because some professional told me.
Yeah.
It's hard to do,
That's
Mama.
right.
So I can't do it. So we want to start teaching them that 3-letter word. Anybody remember it? It's that Y-E-T, that yet. It's hard, yet if I practice,
That's right.
then I can do something different. I can respond in a better way. Because you know what? Anybody can react. A dog can react. If you go to the doctor's office and he hits your knee, it's gonna just pop out there. But it takes a person with some savviness. Hey, Camille Sings, thank you for coming up. It takes a person who is able to have self-control, which is a fruit of the Spirit that we really need to be having and practicing and utilizing every day to override those proclivities that we have of our flesh. Where I just want to reach out and grab them and choke them. Things like that. But we really do need to have that self-control, and we have to intentionally practice. So, that's why I mentioned the 30-day challenge. Every day, write down at least 3 things that you are grateful for. Every day, listen to something that is positive. Every morning, especially when you first wake up in the morning, it can set the tone for your whole day. When you wake up and somebody in the house is in a bad mood, okay, so you close the door and you go to your room and listen to something that is positive, okay? Whether it's music but I like to listen to books, audio books, yeah, because books get you smart, and so we all want to be a little bit more intelligent than we are currently, right? Yes. Now, another thing you mentioned was our feelings. When these emotions, I call it energy in motion, because if you've got that angry emotion coming up, or that irritated, agitated, that energy moves slower. Sometimes it moves really fast. But if we're yet able to control it, come on, y'all, yet. Yeah. If we're able to control it, just experience that self-control, and we practice that day after day. Give your kids some situations. Hey, what if this happens at school? What would you do? And then just kind of brainstorm together. That works into that building those relationships with your parents, building up that resiliency at home, and being your own, kid's best friend. Not that you want to be just friends with them, because you still want to play that parental role, but letting them know that I support you, I care, I love you enough we're going to bring up the hard things here, we're going to discuss them, not keep all this stuff secret, because you keep that stuff secret inside, and then it just eats you up on the inside, right? And then you wonder why you go to the doctor and you got all kind of stuff, tearing you up. But okay, so that's for another day. But I want to get to the thing about emotions and just how does that affect our amygdala?
Well, so I talked a lot today about our thinking and how thinking perceives action, but emotions in there too.
Yes.
That part of the brain that interprets the stimuli that comes in is also and this is the limbic system, that's also where your emotions and your emotional memories are stored. So the amygdala takes all that information, and if something is sort of designated as a threat, so your thalamus actually interprets as a threat, it's going to send that message to the amygdala. And amygdala is sometimes people call it the fear center, but it's really more than just about fear. It's about it's the threat center. It's that center of the brain when it gets triggered, it means that something is interpreted as a threat. But sometimes emotions are what can trigger that amygdala. Because sometimes emotions can be threatening.
Yeah.
And powerful, make us feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so then that's where that fight, flight, or freeze response comes in.
Right. And I love it that you said all 3. I love it, because a lot of times we just say fight or flight, but then we have to recognize that freeze is it's a normal part of our reaction in our brain. And I think a lot of times, hey, thank you, Gwendolyn, for joining us. I love what you said there. Thank you so much. But I love that, the freeze. It is okay to just like get stuck in the... when you're watching those scary movies, right? And then the girl is just, you're just like, girl, forget your shoes. Keep running. And she's just like, oh, and you just hollering and screaming. Well, that's me. I be hollering and screaming, telling her what to do. But that is a natural response. And so it's something that you have to practice. When I was in my first year of college, I had to take speech class. I was so scared. Oh my goodness. We had to, but they told us to get out and practice somebody, coming to attack you. How would you respond? And so we had to, they had to tell us scream, shout, run, do anything. So we had to get out there and practice. And so just practicing those things, I love doing that with my families that I work with. Just practicing, what would you do to keep you safe in this situation? What do you do to keep you safe in another, whether you're at school or at the gas station, or if you're at the grocery store, or if you go in the store with mom at nighttime, even though it's nighttime, it can be dark outside and you're walking to the car, anything can happen. So it's good to practice and tell your kids, hey, this is what we're going to do so we get there safely. And if anything happens, then we do this, this, and that. So this is great. I love it. I love this conversation.
Yeah. And even just helping learning simple skills and how to regulate that when you feel that emotion heighten. Just taking deep breaths and kind of doing that self-talk and soothing ourselves. In those, because there are some times in our lives that we deal with things that are really challenging to us.
Sure.
And
yes.
if you are struggling with how you're responding to things, that just means you haven't learned a new way of thinking yet, or you haven't learned how to regulate our emotional responses yet.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're destined to respond that way forever.
Right.
There's a lot of ways we can get unstuck and change the way we think, change the way we respond to things, and learn new skills to be able to change our patterns, leave the past behind, and look to the hope of the future.
I love it. Now, Michelle, I know you have a blog, and a lot of times on your blog you put 3 ways to do this, 5 ways to do that. Can you tell them where they can go to get your blog so they can learn? What are some of the things that I can do on a practical day-to-day basis to really help me?
Absolutely. You can find me at Michelle Graff LLC, and my name has 2 L's and 2 F's in it. Michelle Graff LLC at WordPress.com.
Okay, that's great. Hey, thanks, Michelle. Oh, thanks, Camille. I love that. Renewing your mind daily. That's right. That's how we transform our mind, right? Renew it daily, especially in the Word of God, because that's where you get the most positiveness. I gotta share something with you guys, because you mentioned, Michelle, powerful, the word powerful. One of my favorite poems is by Marianne Williamson. I don't know the whole poem by heart, but I'm gonna tell you the part I love the most. She said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I love that, y'all. Like, we are powerful beyond measure. If you record yourself saying that every day, then you will start feeling powerful beyond measure, knowing that you can do anything because you are never alone. God said He'll never leave you, nor will He ever forsake you. He won't withhold any good thing from you if you walk upright before Him. Ain't that right? Yes. Okay, so I know I'm getting all emotional up in here, but it is just good to know that you have help, that you're not by yourself, that you can just reach out and somebody else will help you in your time of need, in your time of distress, when it seems the most darkest. Know that you are not alone. Know that you have the power within you to say, look, let there be light in this place. Thank you. Okay, so the rest of the poem, it says, okay, it is our light, not our darkness. Wow. Hallelujah. That most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, to be fabulous, to be talented? But the truth is, who are you not to be? You, and you, whoever is watching this, you are a child of God. And so that's where our light, that's where our darkness comes from. And so you have the ability to do anything that you put your mind to. And that's why this topic is so important. It's like, we want you to get a new mindset. We want you to renew your mind day by day. And so my shameless plug in is, check me out on YouTube. And so you can just hear some words over and over again. Who wrote this? Marianne Williamson. She wrote this poem. Yeah, she says, your playing small does not serve the world. Yeah, that's good. So you don't have to shrink so other people around you won't feel uncomfortable. So my encouragement is be who you are. Be who God created you to be. We talked about you having gifts and talents, and everything has a gift and a talent. It's not for you. It's for somebody else. So if you know you have that blessing, thank you, Camille, then you got to share that with somebody else in this world so you can make a difference in this world. So we just want to encourage you with that. Those are my last words. Know that you are powerful beyond measure. Check me out next Saturday with another fantabulous woman. Don't even know who it's going to be yet. But I know if nothing else, it'll be me. And I'm not saying that to boast or to brag, but that I'm saying that with all humility. Okay, so this is Michelle Graff again, Graff. And you can check out her blog. Thank you, Gwendolyn. You can check out her blog. And you've got her phone number on here. Hit the replay. Thanks for showing up. Again, if you want to get that free list of 25 ways, Traci Williams, Traci Williams is my name. 25 ways to build up your growth mindset so you can keep growing and expanding your opportunities and things like that. Then you definitely want to get this. You know, put in there growth mindset, hashtag growth mindset in the box. And make sure you share this video with somebody. Everybody on here, share this video with at least 10 people, because this is the perfect time of the year around the holiday season where we see the most tragedies happen, right, Michelle? Mm-hmm. We see the most domestic violence situations. We see the most abuse, oh my goodness, just happen. But we know there is justice is coming, right? So for you intercessors out there, you know, be watchmen on the wall. Get up there and pray, and don't cease praying, and pray until something happens. Push. That's what I call push. Pray until something happens, right? Okay, thanks for showing up. Love you guys. Bye.